All right. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I get a lot of questions about LinkedIn funnels. I mentioned it a few times over the last few years, and every time I do, everyone gets really excited about it. So I thought it would be good timing to share my experiences and how we use it in our agency. So I'm going to share my screen now. As always, if you have any questions, pop them in the Q&A. I will get to them at the end. It is a lot of content, particularly technical, so I will do my best to keep it slowed down as much as possible. Okay, so why are you here? So let's talk a little bit about sales and how LinkedIn supports that. So 88% of agency owners rely on referrals or word of mouth, leaving your pipeline really unpredictable. Cold outreach often gets ignored or flagged as spam, but warm LinkedIn funnels can 10 times your response rate. And we'll go through all the details of how that works. Most founders spend 10 hours a week on content without seeing return on investment either. So there are so many professionals on LinkedIn, 800 million, but fewer are actually turning that attention into consistent high ticket leads. So the competition is not as high. It can be a little oversaturated in some markets, but with the right messaging, you can very much cut through. Uh, you're here because you're done with inconsistent lead flow and you want a repeatable, scalable system, and you're ready to turn relationships into revenue. So let's get to it. Okay, so what we'll cover today is how to design a LinkedIn funnel that consistently attracts qualified leads. We'll look at the exact messaging, content, and outreach that the outreach strategy that converts. Real examples of what's working. We're going to look at AI and using AI to actually develop that messaging as well as curating lists. We'll look at the lead ecosystem and also sales. So, who am I? I'm a profitable agency owner. Some of you already know who I am, but I'll just go through this as well. I'm over a decade as an enterprise level project manager in charge of multi-million dollar global projects. I have a behavioral science degree, and as I am a single mum of three girls. So when I first launched my agency in 2016, and I tried to scale sort of for 2 years with referrals and word of mouth. And then I succeeded with 2K months to 10K months, but really struggled. And I started running performance-based ads. Not sure if anyone was around in 2016 when everyone was running performance-based ads. So that's if you don't get results, you don't pay. I did get a lot of people coming in, but it really struggled to grow my agency because I'm not a huge supporter of that kind of model in terms of your own business, because it does struggle to get off the ground. I didn't have the team or skills to make it work either. So there's my beautiful three little girls that really pushed me to make all of this work. But I came crashing down when I got divorced and I was the sole provider. I had cash flow would come in and come out, and I'd have months where I had a lot of money, and then many months when I'd have none. So it was a real struggle. I tried to go back to work, but it was near impossible to make it work with school pickup. I brought in a business partner and she took the sales and I took the operations. And then we kind of struggled at first until we really nailed our sales funnels. And I will go through some of those particular sales funnels as well. And then we grew rapidly. So we grew a big agency, 20 plus staff, 250K a month in revenue, charging, big retainers, some of them bigger than 8K, but we didn't have any profit because we didn't have any boundaries with clients. We had a lot of scope creep. We had too many underperforming staff, and then we were constantly putting out fires. I was burnt out and stressed out. And I didn't get to spend any time with my family, which was the whole point. So this is the turnaround. We started with zero profit, and then now I have 30 to 50% profit. I was burnt out and stressed out, and now I'm happy and I have a really effortless business. I had inconsistent lead generation, and now I have leads on tap from multiple sources, and that's that ecosystem, which I'll walk you through. I had a very top-heavy team with expensive resources. Now I have a very small inner crew, but a much larger, wider crew, which is really about leveraging contractors, which I will mention a little bit later on. Had the wrong clients, and now I have the best clients, and that's all about curating and making sure you know who the best clients are. was in the wrong job for me, and now I'm doing what I love and leaping out of bed. I was not there for my kids before, and now I'm at every drop off and every Easter hat parade. So what is the secret to a sustainable agency? Really, it's that clear positioning and strong sales ecosystems, which is what we're going to go through today. So it's multiple sources of leads, hands-off funnels, really strong messaging, and the right clients. It's a profitable pricing and service design, so value-based pricing, high scaling retainers, tiered packaging. It's strong operations and systems from day one, so SOPs, project systems, automation, and lean operations. It's client experience and retention, so results-driven delivery, transparency, and communication. And then founder mindset and vision, so letting go of the control, subconscious repetition, managing resistance, personal value focus, and then financial discipline. So really managing cash flow, understanding profit first. That's a really big one. And then building in recurring revenue as well. But today we're going to go through that sales side. So this is a sales ecosystem. I'm really passionate about this because once you have an ecosystem, it's you don't get that feast to famine kind of experience. You have leads coming in from multiple sources. It's a much more comfortable place to be in. Now, today we're going to go through LinkedIn outreach, but in the entire ecosystem, there are advertising. So Facebook and YouTube tend to be the best for agencies. There's social outreach. So we used to use Instagram as outreach, and that got us quite a bit of revenue. There's podcasts. You can have your own podcast or also appear on other people's podcasts. White label partners, another one that I'm really passionate about that we rely on a little bit. Client referrals, network referrals, that's kind of building a network of people that will share referrals with you, which we have a very strong network for our agency. There's SEO and then guest blogging and paid links. But today we're going to go through LinkedIn outreach. So what is a LinkedIn organic funnel? Why would you use a LinkedIn organic funnel? So we close around 20K revenue a month on LinkedIn. The rest is partnerships. It used to be very heavily reliant on ads, but we have a really good partnership network that brings us consistent leads. And I also keep my agency relatively small these days because it's more about profit for me than huge revenues. It's a great experience to on-sell. This is a service, so it's a really good service to sell to any lead gen clients. You'll get a direct access to a curated list of decision makers. So you really develop the list of people that you see as your perfect clients. It's faster relationship building than doing cold outreach and trying to nurture and build that relationship. It's lower cost than ads, so there really is, other than the platforms that you use, there really are limited costs to how much it'll take out of your revenue. It's laser targeted lead generation, and it's really great for high ticket offers because it's a professional platform. People expect more deliberate conversations. It's automated, so it can just run in the background, and it's scalable and trackable. Some of the downside is that some industries are saturated, but you can get past that with really good messaging. So let's look at the tech stack. So what do you actually need to run this? So you need an automation software. You can actually do this manually as well, but obviously the automation is going to make it much easier for you. We use Dripify, and I will show you the back end of that. There's also Lucia. There's a couple of others as well that I can't think of right now, but there are quite a few out there in the market. You'll need Sales Navigator. You actually don't need Sales Navigator, but it's much easier using Sales Navigator. You can actually just import lists that you might have scraped from LinkedIn, and there are tools that you can use to also scrape emails and accounts. For messaging, we recommend ChatGPT from an AI perspective, but there are many AI tools out there as well that you can use for messaging. And then you'll need a CRM to connect to. We use Monday, but many of you, I think, are using High Level. Many people do use Scholar High Level, but it's really any CRM that you can connect to. So how do you set it up? So you start with curating your list, which is really working out who you want to approach. Then you're going to develop an offer. What is going to connect you to those particular people? Then you'll develop the messaging. So that'll be, how you deliver that offer. You're going to create the actual funnel, which we'll do in Dripify. And then you're going to connect or move your leads to your CRM. So it's a relatively simple process. Now, curating your lists. We use chat because it's a perfect tool to assist in LinkedIn curation. Now, finding the ideal client on LinkedIn. So think of a business that matches your ideal client profile and take the URL and write the following prompt. On the next page, I will show you actually how to find that particular URL. So for example, this is a prompt that we use. Now, I will send you all of the prompt templates as well. So this is what we would say to ChatGPT, use, and then you insert the name. In this case, we're using Jamie Stewart's, and then you put the link of their LinkedIn profile in. So use Jamie Stewart's LinkedIn profile as a model persona for building a Sales Navigator lead list. Identify her core attributes, role, seniority, industry, and then generate a set of Sales Navigator filters that will return 100 to 500 similar decision makers in retail companies, not wholesale. So we're looking, because we work in e-com, we're looking specifically for retail, but you might be looking for building, health, whatever industry you're looking at. Where we're looking in Australia, obviously you'd be wherever you are. And then we're looking for a particular size of business as well. You might be looking for something quite small, and you can really get granular with Sales Navigator. My goal is to connect with people who are most likely to buy marketing strategy or digital services. Now, before we excuse me, before we get into the actual response that chat would give you, I just want to show you the example list curation. So let's say I am looking for retail, e-commerce. Now I would just put in a Google search and I would type in, say, the product, garden tools, and that will give me a list of different types of businesses. I would then take that particular business, go into LinkedIn and see if I can find the business owner. So now that gives me the profile of Jamie Stewart, and then I'll run that through that particular prompt that we looked at before. So this is a chat response example. So this is, once we put that particular prompt in, this is what chat is going to give you. And it's really detailed. So it gives you those images of what Sales Navigator filters will look like. So you can see exactly when you put in all of those filters, exactly what it will look like, and you can compare against what you've added in. And it will also list those out. So it gives you the lead filters, geography, industry, and then the account filters as well. So if you're not familiar with Sales Navigator, that's what the back end looks like. It's really just about curating your particular list. And chat will give you all of the details list in a list format that you can just plug straight in. So then we'll use AI to create the offer as well. So based on Jamie Stewart's LinkedIn profile, I'm looking for a business owner in an ideal company size. What are 3 to 5 high converting LinkedIn outreach hooks I could use to get her attention? My goal is to offer a strategic marketing audit or funnel diagnostic. Please factor in her role, likely KPIs in the retail e-com context. Now, of course, you may already have a really strong offer that you want to plug in there, but if you don't, chat is a great way to get some of those offers. And it's given back performance pressure hook. So if you're like most marketing leads in retail, you're juggling 6+ channels and still getting asked where the next 20% growth is coming from. Want to see how your current funnel stacks up against top performing brands. There's a competitor edge hook, just reviewed your brand diagnostic. And this will be the first message that you'll this is with the hook that you plug in. Now the actual messages will go through in a moment, so this might seem a little bit confusing, but these are the actual hooks that you'll be offering the person that you're approaching. So channel strategy hook, most retail marketers are stuck optimizing channels in isolation, but the real growth unlock usually comes from stitching the strategy together. Want to see the gaps I spotted in under 10 minutes. So it's really just, what is that hook that you're going to get them from the first introduction to actually taking an action with you? And then we're going to actually do the messaging. I want to write a short, high converting LinkedIn outreach message and then you put in the job title, working at an example company, and then like the example LinkedIn profile. You'll plug in the offer, and then please write me the personalized hook style messages. And it will actually give you, I've just put in the first message, but it'll actually give you all the messages. So when we're working with LinkedIn, we do a first message, which is the initial connection message. So we want to connect with them first. And then we'll do a message to try and get them to hook them in. and then we'll do follow-up messages. Now, you can control the level of the funnel that you use, and I will show you that in a moment. You could just do an initial outreach. We actually sometimes just do the initial connection and then leave it there. Or, kind of rely on doing a lot of content on LinkedIn to try and hook people in, or we'll do more targeted, directly, here's our offer, here's our next stage. So funnel creation part 1. So this is actually using Dripify as an example, but as I said, there are many other tools you can use. So we start with doing a search on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Based on all of that criteria we went through from chat, you want to sense check your search and then run it back through ChatGPT, asking if this list is including the best prospects, because sometimes LinkedIn does pull in people that aren't necessarily the right people. So you do need to go through and have a little bit of a look and make sure they're actually correct. Once you've got your search and the right people, you're going to take the URL of the search. So you just copy it from the top. Now, once you've done all the filtering, you'll see the button to save search. As soon as you save the search, a URL will come up. You just take that particular URL of that saved search and then go to Dripify. Most of the tools are the same in this way. They want that saved search URL, and then you'll jump over to their platform. So this is the back end of Dripify. So this is where we start to create the funnel. You want to make sure you've linked your LinkedIn account to the actual platform. And then you're going to create the campaign. So you want to do a LinkedIn Sales Navigator search. But there are other options as well, like uploading a CSV file, pasting individual profile URLs, which would be quite cumbersome. There's a basic LinkedIn search. You don't actually need Sales Navigator, but you do get better curation with Sales Navigator. And then you add your leads. So you just pop in that saved URL and it will create the lead list. So, so you've linked your LinkedIn account, you create the campaign, you've added your leads, you select only the first box and then give your list a name and create the list. And then you want to move on to creating a sequence. So it's very much like creating any funnel sequence. You can create a template. So it's a bit like an email funnel. So you can use a template they already have. The lead generation template is quite good because it has more actions, things like endorsing their skills or liking a post. But you can create your own campaign as well. So this is what it looks like in the back end. So the first thing you will do is send an invite. And then when you click on that, it opens up the message box and you'll tailor that message for the initial invitation. Once they've accepted, then you set the hours. So you might respond in 1 hour. Then you might endorse their skills first before you send a message, and then you send that message. If they don't accept, so you can see that on the left-hand side, then it'll automate the follow, and then it'll also automate the view profile after 5 days. This is really just to try and get them to actually accept your invitation. When they accept your invitation, on the right-hand side, you'll go through a sequence of messages. And you can define that exactly the way that you want to define it using those messages in ChatGPT. So the system has a safety net because LinkedIn has a maximum number of actions per day without being affected by a bot. So things like connection requests, you really should set it at about 20, otherwise it gets picked up as a bot. Then there's things like profile views and endorsements. The last thing you want to do is get restricted on LinkedIn. So it has that safety net to make sure that it doesn't go higher than that. You can actually push it higher. The little lock on there is because I have the base, I use the base account. You can actually go higher, but I think the maximum, they keep changing it. It was 100. I think it's moved down to about 80. So just be very careful there that you make sure you stick to those particular settings because it'll protect you from getting locked out of LinkedIn. Then what you want to do is move your leads to your CRM. So connect Dripify or whatever you're using to via Zapier to go high level. Some of them have the integration already in the system. We connect it to Monday to just take those leads. Once the lead responds to your offer, it will automatically move it over into a new warm lead. So we know, okay, great, I've got this new lead in, I'll need to go and reach out to them. You need to be careful not to automate too many messages, because what happens is it starts to feel very bot-like. What you want to do is jump in as quickly as possible once somebody has responded to your initial offer. So jump in and say, hey, here I am. You might actually just set your connection to that initial message. If they respond to that initial offer, get it to come through, send your notification. Okay, yep, someone wants, is interested in my offer. I'll jump in and start responding to them as quickly as possible. When we're using this as a client tool, which we often do, we tend to jump in very early, because clients get very sensitive to too many bot messages. There is one caveat to using LinkedIn in this way, is that you will get people, or you will potentially pull in leads that aren't perfect. And so you will get some negative comments of, why are you contacting me? Go away. So you have to prep clients to expect that. It is just the nature of LinkedIn funnels, unless you want to go through every single lead, and sometimes that's thousands of them, and make sure they're the perfect person. So just make sure you prep clients for that, and make sure, because it's usually running on their account, will always run on their particular account or their salesperson's account. You need to prep them, because they'll be seeing all of those comments and responses. I just want to talk a little bit more about the sales ecosystem. Now, I'm sure you have plenty of questions about the actual LinkedIn funnel, which we'll go through in the Q&A. But in terms of the sales ecosystem, I just wanted to go through this again and just, mention how important it is to have all of these elements working in your ecosystem, and not rely on one particular channel for sales. It is so important for the health of your agency to have multiple channels working to bring you leads. This is what we use, and what our focus in our agency. So we have a really strong partner network structure. So we have white label. So we have businesses that we provide all of the work for. Some of them are just literally a brand, and we do all of the work under their brand, and they just take a small percentage of that fee for the actual leads. We have shared referrals, so where we exchange different leads. So we have SEO companies that will send us leads. Sometimes we'll send those back to them. There's different types of referral exchanges that we have. You can use networking events to get those. We used to be part of BNI, not anymore, but you can use networking events to get those. Business directories, so Market Hire, we're a part of a number of different ones, like I think you don't have it over there, but there's one called SEMO. Market Hire is another example, where they just take, again, a commission fee for the actual lead, and then there's BNI as well. But partners and referrals are, a really strong channel. I want to talk about this. This is something that is included in the program that I'm offering, which includes exactly how to create this funnel. But this particular funnel generated over 100K a month in revenue for us. It was really the ad that made it, huge change in our business a few years ago. We don't currently run ads, but it's just because we have quite a lot of referrals coming in, and I want to keep our agency quite small. But this particular ad was just a huge game changer for us. And it's really the case study ad. And I will go through that in the program, of exactly how to get those case studies. Now, the copy itself was obviously very successful, but it was the video, I believe, that made a huge difference. And the video was literally just the client speaking to a phone right up in her face, and she's just talking. It says WCM, because that was the old agency that my agency used to be called before we recreated it. But it is just literally her talking to camera about how we converted her business by running ads for her. So she was really struggling, and then when we came along, we helped her to generate 90K a month in revenue. So this is a really great example of creating an ad that could change your business. Another is building authority and community funnels, and that's creating content. We do a little bit of this, but not a huge amount. Facebook groups, weekly value posts, conversion, so direct message to call or challenge funnels. It builds deep trust and loyalty, but it can be slower to scale, and it should just be only part of what you're doing. You can use outbound appointment setters as well. We do this whenever we really want to bring in some more leads, and you can create those similar to the LinkedIn funnels, but using emails as well. So I just wanted to invite you, some of you may have already been on my previous webinar last week or masterclass, but I just wanted to remind you of the invitation to the Scale program. So really it's about working together to finally grow the business aligned with your life. It works for anyone wanting to scale, so a complete beginner through to 30K plus months. It's really about creating effortless cash flow and profit management and a mindset that does all the work on autopilot. And that's a really interesting one. That was a breakthrough for me, is really that mindset that the business just works because I have the right mindset. I have the right principles in place to help that subconscious mindset to make my agency work. It's structuring offers and pricing and creating that sales ecosystem for constant leads. We'll work together on really creating that ecosystem with you. A plan to step into your ideal role. So stepping out of the business completely if you want, or finding that role that really aligns with what you want to do. It's a plan. We'll create a plan for when to hire and who to hire, and an access to a list of white label partners that we'll provide for you. And it's really looking at tech stack, so systems, and then when to hire as well, and then marketing strategy. Okay, so what's included in the program? There's 90 days of high impact support with live mastermind calls twice a week, a private dashboard with all the call recordings and tools and templates, a more supportive community. We've already got quite a few people in the program, and direct access to me and my expert team, including Taylor, who has a lot of experience on paid ads, and she runs all of our paid ads at the moment. And we have clients spending over $1 million a month. This is an introductory price. It will never be this price again. And just one offer I didn't mention last time is that all round one participants will get a full 12 months free access to the program, which will be $297 a month after this particular first entry point. So what I'm going to do is I will pop in the link to book a call with me. If you want to go through the LinkedIn funnel particularly, like just go through that, I'm happy to jump on a call for half an hour and answer any questions. But for now, I will take any questions that anyone has directly in the Q&A. I think there's a question in there already. And I have to apologize. I'm actually sick right now, if you can hear my voice. So it's a little bit croaky. I'm just going to have a sip of water. Will this approach automate both drafting and sending replies? That way we don't have to respond to each lead individually. Yes, it does. So what you can do is you can have the automation answer as many of the messages as you want. So you could actually just continually answer them. So you have the first the first direct connection, and that is where you're asking someone to connect with you on LinkedIn. And then you'll have the first offer response. So if they do respond, so if they do connect with you, you can automate how long before you respond. I would put in around an hour rather than doing immediately. I don't know if anyone else gets a lot of these requests on LinkedIn. I personally do. And I don't love it when I get the first message as soon as I've connected with them. It feels very cold. So I usually put in at least an hour in between that first connection and the first message. You could actually put longer as well. Once they respond to that first message, you can then, of course, automate the next one as well. So if they say yes to your offer, you could actually ask a question as well. So it could be, tell me about what's happening in your business, and then draft the response based on what they've actually responded to. If that makes sense. Are there any other questions? Okay. Okay. Yep, I can see another one coming in here. Curious about stacking offers, and would you bring this to a client? It's definitely something I would bring to a client in terms of as a particular offer. We normally charge this out at about $3,000 for the first month, and then we make it cheaper for months going on. Once you've done the initial setup, it is much cheaper for you to manage long term. So we usually stack it higher at the first entry point, but it is a great offer for clients. And what we often find is when we run the LinkedIn funnels to people, we often get people coming back and going, "Hey, this is amazing. The messages that you've connected with us on, the way that you've connected with us on LinkedIn, we love. Do you offer this as a service?" So it is a really great service for customers as an offer. Are there any other questions? In terms of the actual technical side to it, as I said, I'm happy, reach out to me directly. I haven't got my booking link open right now, but I will pop it into an email. Oh, hang on, sorry, there's another question. So just making sure the LinkedIn offer is 3K. Yeah, so we offer it. You can offer it as anything you like. It depends on how many hours you think it's going to take you. We offer it as 3K because we've been doing it for a while and we're pretty streamlined at offering it. If it's going to take you longer in the beginning, offer it more. You could offer it less as well. But the first month is 3K, and then months following, we usually do at about 8 to 1K per month after that, because it's really just checking in on the funnel, making sure the leads are going through. A lot of, depending on the size of the business. So if you're working with a smaller business and it's really the business owner, it's their LinkedIn that you're using, then it is easier. When you've got sales teams, it can be a little bit harder in terms of making sure that they're actually responding to people. That's one thing we found. You get connected with the owner of the business who says, "I want my sales team to have these funnels," and then the sales team kind of don't follow up on leads, which is often what happens in these sorts of businesses. So it's important that you're reporting back to the business owner of how many leads have actually come through, and also following up on making sure they're actually then contacting the particular lead as well. Someone's asked, how much will you charge us if we want technical help with setting this up for our agency? I'm offering it as part of the program. So if you're interested, the link will come out in an email after this. In terms of offering it as a standalone technical help with this setup, I have an hourly rate that I charge. If you would like to book in, I'm happy to do a free half an hour. But in terms of actually setting it up, it'd be by the hour. I can send information about that in the email as well, that we can do it for you as a setup. But as I said, it's in the program. If you wanted to jump into the program, we'll be going through this in detail in the program for anyone who's interested in using it. Any more questions? So would you use a LinkedIn funnel for B2B more than B2C, right? Yeah, depending. I mean, obviously B2C, direct to consumer, no. But if they've, if it's an e-commerce client that has wholesale, then, we have used it and it's been amazing. So we had a client that sold beautiful curated towels, like really thick, beautiful towels. And we use these funnels for them to connect with big wholesale clients. So we actually secured, I'm not sure if you have Myer over there, probably don't. It's a big department store here. We actually, were able to connect with Myer, David Jones, just by using this funnel for her towels. So not great for directly to clients, but definitely for if they have wholesale. Okay, any other questions? Okay, great. I will send through the email after this. Please connect with me. You can connect me directly on Facebook message. Otherwise, you can email me back and I will respond. Feel free to book a call if you want to have ask some more questions about this or the program as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I apologize for my my sickness. And I hope you learnt something out of this, and hope to see some of you in the program. Enjoy the rest of your day. Is there a recording? Yes, there will be a recording that will go into the email as well, so you can watch it over. I will actually include a link to the PDF, the presentation, so you can kind of break down and have a look at the program. And then I'll send the prompts as well, so you can plug those prompts directly into ChatGPT. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening or day. Bye.